I was thinking a lot today about what it's like as you get older when Christmas is looming up in the near future. The first thing I think most people think about these days is not so much about the holiday aspect of it, but the financial impact. Sorry, I've got glasses on, it's really hot and sunny here. I think what makes me think about it is about what wealth means to people who are older. In many ways, I would summarise it as being wealth, being having a comfortable home, having a roof over your head that's dry, warm, or cooler in the summer months, having clothing, being well clothed, to keep yourself warm, whatever's required, and to have food. Now, I'm not saying this all has to be extreme to be considered to be wealth. You've really just got to have what you need basically to survive and to survive comfortably. Now, I know some people probably see wealth as having millions of dollars in the bank, having a bank account you can call on to buy whatever you want, having annual holidays or holidays twice a year, heading off to islands, Pacific Islands or fancy Caribbean or somewhere like that for a holiday. When you get older, that doesn't really mean so much, or this is what I find anyway. Firstly, to go on a holiday, you want to be able to relax. Some people, of course, like to go on a holiday and to be able to get out and do a whole lot of physical, exciting things, but older generations, maybe not quite so much. To me, I think if I was having a holiday, maybe a cruise on a ship that I could relax, or just go away to somewhere nice and quiet by the beach or something like that, but not necessarily feel that I have to have an expensive holiday anywhere, that I can go and see the world. And I mean, really what I haven't seen now, I haven't seen much of it, but what I haven't seen now probably isn't really going to bother me if I never get to see it. So anyway, as far as having fancy holidays is concerned, I don't think that is something that older people would consider as being wealth. I think maybe excessive. I'm probably going to get a few comments on this that may not agree with me. You don't have to have a fancy home, as long as it does the purpose of what you want it to do, to keep you warm, to be safe, to be secure, to be comfortable. That to me is a form of wealth, being to having that access to a home that provides all those things. And having food, not having to worry about where your next meal's coming from, but to be able to think, well, I can afford to go and get the groceries and get ready for my next week's meals or something like that. Not excessively. You don't have to be out buying crabs and lobsters and crayfish and all that sort of exotic thing. There's plenty of food that you can get that is within a reasonable cost, and I know everything is expensive, but you can get enough food that's in reasonable cost to keep you going for a week, to give you a good balanced diet during the week. So when I look at wealth, these are the things that I consider to be wealth for me. And of course, with Christmas coming up, people always think about the money side of things. How am I going to survive over Christmas? I've got all these Christmas presents to buy for all these people, and I just don't do that anymore. I've explained to the family, when you're living on a limited income with a pension, you can't afford to be going out and buying presents for everybody that you've done over the years. And I just explain to people, this is the fact of life. I don't want presents. If there's anything that I need, then I will go and buy it. But don't buy me presents of things that I'm probably going to put away in a bedroom and never use again. Don't waste your money. Don't waste my effort of thinking, oh, that's nice, but what am I going to do with it? And I tell that to other people as well. I say to my girls, my daughters, and my grandkids, I say, look, don't buy me anything this year The fact that I see you and I have your company for however long over that period is enough for me. That to me is wealth, to have their comfort, to have communication with them, to have them around. We can sit and laugh and have a talk and all that. I don't need to have presents. And I explained to them too that a few years ago it was never really an issue. It was, you'd just go out and buy presents for everybody. But these days it's not that easy, even though you can still get cheap stuff from, you know, the box stores or the $2 shops or whatever. Do people really need that stuff? And there's certainly, you know, kids can't be expecting Nana and Granddad or Papa or whatever to go out and buy Xboxes and things like that. It just doesn't happen. And bicycles and electric bikes or whatever. It just doesn't happen. Not when you're older, not when you're on a fixed income. And you shouldn't have to apologise for not being able to do that. It's one of those things that kids should be learning these days in life, that you can't expect everything. Just because the neighbour's kids or someone's kids up the road or someone else's grandparents have got more money and they spend all this money, don't expect it from your own family. Don't put pressures on them by having them feel obliged to be buying things for you. And I think this is a lesson that kids need to be taught right now. Kids seem to think that, you know, they can have whatever they want. They want iPhones, they want laptops, they want everything that's to be up to date with all their other kids and their friends. Right, go out and get yourselves a school holiday job. Go out and buy it for yourself. Don't expect your parents who are trying to keep a roof over your head or your grandparents who are trying to survive on a limited income. Teach the kids that they can't be expecting things. Too many kids go through life thinking now that everything is a right. They've got a right to have this and they've got a right to have that. No, they don't. Not if they're taught properly how to respect other people's ability to buy things, what they can expect, if they want things, that they should go out and just buy it themselves if they've got the money or they've got the ability to earn the money. And if they haven't, then they just have to go without. And this is where, to me, having people around me that respect the way that I feel is wealth to me. I feel very lucky that my kids say, don't buy anything for us for Christmas. Don't buy anything for the kids for Christmas. It's just good to see you. And to me, that is good. It doesn't put pressure on me for the rest of the year. I remember times when I would go out at Christmas time with my kids and all the rest of the family, and you'd take your credit card out and you'd buy things on your credit card and you'd spend the next 6 months paying it off. Well, sorry, that doesn't work anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. And people need to realise, kids, family, friends need to realise that's just the way life is. They shouldn't expect people to be hand in pocket giving them things because that's the way it was always done. So-and-so's got it, why can't I have it? Well, just tough. To me, as I said, having the wealth to me is having family that respect the situation that I'm in and know that, you know, if I could afford to go and buy fancy presents, I would do it at the drop of a hat. But I just can't, not without putting myself under pressure for the next 6 months or so. When you're older, you've got things that you've got to maintain your house, you've got other things that you've got to do, which are necessary to keep yourself comfortable in your old age. And you can't put that aside in favour of going out and spending lots of money on other people just for Christmas. Half the time they don't appreciate it. you buy them things that they sort of think, that's nice, but I didn't really want that. Or you could always say, what would you like for Christmas? I'll go and get it for you. What's the fun in that? All you're doing is just buying a present, fulfilling their expectations of something that they're going to be getting. So to me, I think it's important that as older people, and with the financial situation around the world, and I am saying around the world, I don't know any country, I know America, Canada, Britain, Australia, New Zealand, all the countries that that I know about, that I associate with their financial situations. Nobody's doing it easy, everybody's doing it hard. Grocery prices are up, the cost of utilities is up. It's happening everywhere. It's everywhere. And don't think, for a minute, it's only our country or your country or whatever. We're all having to endure it. So I think it's important that we all think to ourselves, what do we find that makes us feel wealthy? It's not having all that money, it is having the basics. Having the basics at the moment, feeling comfortable. We don't know if the world's going to get worse. We don't know if it's going to get better. We don't really know what's on the horizon, but it's certainly not worth getting yourself into financial stress or getting into extra financial stress when there is so much uncertainty ahead of us at the moment. So I think it's important that we all, as individuals, and not just the older people, but all as individuals, consider what we feel in our hearts makes us feel wealthy. And okay, it'd be really nice to have all the extra money, but what's the likelihood of it sort of dropping in your lap overnight? Probably 0 to 0. Okay, so remember, you've got to make do with what you've got and try to get through and survive as best you can and protect yourself financially, and make sure that you've got a home, make sure that you've got food, make sure that you've got all the things that are necessary to survive and feel comfortable without feeling guilty that you can't spend huge amounts of money on other people. You shouldn't have to feel guilty that you can't afford to buy things for other people. I certainly don't. And the reason I don't is because my kids and all my family understand. And I think that's important. Get your family to understand what your situation is. Get them to appreciate or understand that maybe they're going through the same thing themselves but hadn't really thought of bringing up the subject. And it's something to be talked about. It's something to really be discussed and think, how can I make myself feel comfortable and healthy and wealthy? And it's one of the things, actually, I should have got right at the start. What makes you feel wealthy is having good health. And while you've got that and you've got all these other things, appreciate the fact that you are feeling wealthy, that you don't want for anything. It would be, there's a lot of nice to haves out there, but as long as you've got all the need to haves, then in yourself you should feel wealthy. And I do, and I just wish that other people are in that same position, especially coming up to Christmas. It is a stressful time. We're lucky here in New Zealand, it's summer, you can get out and about and do lots of things. We're not stuck inside with snow or anything like that. We can get out and sort of get some fresh air and do all of that sort of stuff, which I'm sure eases the stress here on Christmas, because we are able to get out and about and do simple things if we want to. So that's my little thoughts on, as being an older person, on what I consider the things that I need to make me feel wealthy. And as I said, it's not lots of money, it's just having all the necessities of life, or most of the necessities of life, just so that I can exist comfortably and get through from one day to the next. Okay, thank you for listening. If this is the first time you've been here, thank you for calling in. If you've come back from watching another video, thank you. And my name is June. I will say goodbye for now. Please take care, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay, bye-bye. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, comment and share, and hit the subscribe button so that you can see all future videos.